Ron. And I'm going to preface the question, which is about security, to Ron by saying that Equifax is as a business in the business of protecting people's identity. And as I was thinking about this question, I did some Google searching, and Ron, so I came across this article that said, view your neighbor's average mortgage payment with Equifax Mobile. So anyway, just thought I'd mention that. Anyway, so much about protecting identity. But seriously, in your view, does the mobile create a more or less secure payment solution for consumers? And what is needed to convince consumers that it is a safe and secure payments environment?
Well, let me first address the information back to the mortgage. No, it's interesting you bring that up. And I don't work in personal solutions, so I can't tell you what your credit scores are or the information.
Shoot.
So, but I encourage you to go get the app, because what it does do is tell you insights about the marketplace around it. You know, real estate, your credits, everything like that. And why is that important? Mobile is not less secure or more secure in the general sense of things. Think about it this way. The mobile device is like a wallet. It contains information about your identity, who you are, your personas, and the insights behind that persona. So it's not more or less. Matter of fact, we all fear of our wallet or our purse being stolen because you'll have identity theft. So the mobile device has similar components to it. I think the difference is the mobile device could have other things behind it that might be nefarious in intent, right? Or malicious, that we aren't as easily aware of. And that's new. And that's the difference on security on it, because before, with the physical credit card or your ID, you kind of knew what somebody could do. It was known. We had to learn. With the mobile device, there's new stuff that happens behind the scenes that we're not as aware of, right? And so, from a security sense, you know, it's what is old is new. It's just we have to get an understanding of it. But it also presents some unique opportunities around security that can occur with it, or the lack thereof. And so it's education as much as it is capabilities that are put in place on it. And so the reference back to knowing about your mortgage or the thing, these are elements that are public record out there a lot of people don't realize. But what are the discrete elements about you, the person, that needs to be protected to enhance or secure these mobile actions too, these payments? And that's really what we're trying, Ron and Vanguard are trying to understand. And that's, you know, put into place ways for you to understand and create your own sense of security. There is no perfect. The only perfect security is not allowing the transaction to occur. So what we're trying to do is make it more perfect, you know, and get closer to that. And so that's, you know, kind of a way to look at it is security is relevant to the situation and the knowledge base. And what we're trying to do is protect that identity, protect the transaction while maintaining usability. So I don't think it's really a difference. It's just got new challenges that come with
Yeah,
it.
I'd like to chime in there. And pardon me, Karen, I'm going to go a little bit beyond the scope of this conversation here. And quick question to the audience. Please raise your hands if you've used your mobile phone to undertake a banking transaction, which means check your checking account balances or do a fund transfer. There you go. Right? So clearly, you know, there is a large segment of, you know, savvy users who understand that, you know, security is not an issue. It's all about education at the end of the day, right? And the reason why credit cards from Visa and MasterCard were so successful as an industry was because consumers got liability protection when they use cards. And I think it's the industry's collective responsibility to make sure that the average soccer mom or the average, you know, feeding the pizza shop or Joe the dry cleaner understands that, you know, there is enhanced security being offered. And I don't think they do it. You know, I think we are a long way away from making sure that people understand that mobile payments are secure, because there's still questions. What happens if I lose my phone? You know, what happens If someone uses the balance on the credit card which is embedded in my phone, what liability protection do I have? And more importantly, where do I call? The carrier or the bank? So these are open questions which, the industry needs to address. But overall, conceptually, technically, I do agree that, we're all smart enough to build in enough security measures. It's all about communication and education.
Cynthia, I know you done, Matt, do you have a
I just was going to make a quick point, but Sid jumped in before I got a chance. I think I totally agree with Sid that security is the number one concern for payments, and we know that because of online banking, security was the number one concern when people adopted online banking on us. It was the same thing with mobile banking. Security was the number one concern. Bankers weren't sure that customers would be willing to access, their banking information, just their own, and do me-to-me transfers back to the phones. Now we're asking them to do payments, and I think it's just a matter of time before all the education, the advertising outreach that's been going on with Visa and MasterCard and a bunch of others, really gets customers more comfortable with that. But to Ron's earlier point, security can actually be enhanced with mobile payments and mobile banking. And one of the main reasons is that you don't walk around with your computer in your pocket all the time. Banks and anybody providing mobile payment services have the ability to actually, in real time or near real time, get in touch with their customers about a suspicious activity, potential fraudulent activity. And now banks are really using the mobile channel as one of their leading ways to combat fraud, because their customers in some cases can be the best source of information on that. They know whether they were in Italy buying a Ferrari or not, right? They know whether they were making that payment or not. And customers really appreciate that. They're saying, hey, the bank's got my back, they know what I'm doing, and they're just checking in to make sure that payment's okay. I've never heard a customer or any survey response say, that really annoys me when my bank checks to make sure that my payments are secure, that my money's safe. So while there are, potential malware attacks, remote attacks, all those sorts of things, by using the phone as that sort of an instrument, it can also be a serious tool to combat fraud.
I agree that mobile could potentially be more secure than traditional payments. The data that's actually passed in a mobile transaction, at least in a physical situation, could potentially be much more data than traditionally comes across on the Master credit card. The idea that the existing payment system where you swipe a credit card, which could be cloned or I've seen examples where people clone a credit card for 30 seconds. And signature as your means of verification that I am going for that card. It's ridiculous. That model today is so fraud prone that the idea of people being concerned about mobile, where you have the opportunity to pass geolocation data, you have the ability to pass other security codes as part of the transaction that help the bank verify that is not functional transaction. It's sort of the idea being that as long as we leverage that technology in the payment system, we get guys like payment processors who handle that additional data that goes all the way to the bank for verification. So the infrastructure needs to be completely built up to support it, but mobile itself is not any more risky than what we do today from a current payments perspective. And I just want to jump in and say to point about liability protection. Liability protection is specific to certain forms of payment, specifically the traditional credit card. So as a traditional credit card companies move away from a plastic card to putting your payment information on the phone and enabling you to conduct a transaction that way, it is possible that the existing protection that exists for the traditional ways of our transactions will extend. I don't necessarily know that that's been formally defined by all the credit card companies. Credit card companies have all of these special rules about a card present versus a card not present, a face-to-face versus a remote type transaction, different rules for all of them. It hasn't been very well defined how mobile plays into that and what those rules are going to involve. And then from a merchant perspective, of course, there are other payment types out there. There's the PayPals, there's the, I think Karen mentioned Outlier at the beginning of the presentation. There are all of these odd things that sort of combine remote versus in-store versus not a traditional type of transaction. You buy online, but you pick it up in the store. You pay for it in the store and have it shipped to you. They're all different types of transactions that don't exactly fit the very old-fashioned definition of how transactions work. So customers do, I believe, need to be a little bit more educated about exactly what rules they have, both from a merchant perspective and a card payment type, whether it's a card or it's tied to a checking account or something else. You probably do want to look at that a little bit, but I think within a year to 18 months, all of that is going to be hammered out on a purely competitive basis. We're going to get to the point where we, all merchants, processors, issuers of payment vehicles are all going to get to a point where that all has to be hashed out to make it comfortable for consumers to understand what their rights are, what their benefits are, what their protections are.
Cynthia, did you want to?
I'm ready now,
Okay.
and I have lots to opine on. So first of all, we think that the mobile device will be infinitely more secure than your leather wallet today. If you lose your leather wallet with your credit cards and your debit cards, with those mag stripes with static data, they can be read easily. You can go, these black market global crime rings have ways of putting skimmers and all types of very sophisticated devices on point of sale terminals, skimming that information and sending it via Bluetooth, to cross border, and it's skyrocketing. One of the things that we get to do in my group is we talk to law enforcement, FBI, and Secret Service. So we're synthesizing that type of information with what we're seeing with Visa. And so we talk to Visa and MasterCard, and they're like, oh yes, it's going up, but we've got these robust fraud analytics, and they do. You're traveling, they call you, like, we think there's fraud on your card. So we need to move away from magstripe. Mobile is obviously a way to do that. Visa made an announcement yesterday that they want to go intercity EMV. Their rationale behind that is that we have got to get to a more secure environment. We've been talking about it a long time. We knew that it was the end game, which merchants keep telling us, we want the end game. We don't want to invest. We've invested in PCI. We want to invest in terminals that are future-proof. So with that said, there are risks that we recognize as we are in this nascent stage of moving to a new channel. And there are a lot of unknowns, a lot of partnerships that are developing. How will the regulatory framework look if you make a payment and who's going to take the liability if it's a shared business model between a telecom and a bank and then a third service provider like CSAM or somebody that's providing the wallet platform? I think ISIS is setting an example by hammering some of these issues out, right? So whether or not some of these new players will be successful or not, we're sort of developing prototypes of how they can work. We talked to the carriers. There was some thought at some point because they're experimenting with micropayments and they're experimenting with Bill Mobile, like with those Haiti donations you can make with really good fun. Those are micropayment things where really the fraud is not that prevalent. And they've expressed us that they're not interested in looking at taking over what banks do. They don't have that type of experience, and they're really more interested in partnering versus other countries where the mobile carriers have taken more of a lead in the mobile business models. Of course, we're interested in cross-border issues, those type of things, but ultimately, the things that will make the mobile device a more secure form factor for our payments going forward is that, first of all, the contactless chip, the contact chip, which is the card, that data is encrypted and it's dynamic, as opposed to the static data on your Stripe card today. So even if it is skimmed or sniffed, like the black hat engineers have proven, it's a one-time event. It can't be used over and over again. So that's one thing that makes it better. And then the other tools that you mentioned, the SMS. So if there's a payment that seems suspect, the bank has the ability to send you a text alert. And couple that with GPS locationality. Yes, you were supposed to be in Atlanta, but you're in Rome buying a Lamborghini. That doesn't sound right. So that's an additional tool. So the hardware and software resident in the handset, coupled with the technology that's in your car today, which will be embedded in your phone instead, has the potential to make the mobile device a very secure payment form.